Something strange happens the moment you fail. Not the first time you fail, the moment you notice you failed again. Because at first, you're motivated. You start the habit, wake up early, work out, study, meditate, eat clean. You feel different this time, focused, locked in, like finally you're becoming the person you wanted to be. And for a while it works, 3 days, 7 days, maybe even 2 weeks. The chain grows, and every day you stay consistent, you start believing something dangerous. This time, I've changed. But then one day, you miss, you oversleep, you skip the workout, you procrastinate. You tell yourself, it's just one day. But deep down, you already feel it. Because somehow, one missed day starts changing everything. And the weirdest part? It's never the missed day that destroys you. It's what your mind does after it. Because the real reason you keep quitting has nothing to do with discipline, nothing to do with motivation, and almost everything to do with identity. Before we go deeper, I want you to answer honestly. What's the one thing you keep restarting over and over again? Working out? Studying? Waking up early? Being consistent? Comment it right now, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand why you keep falling back into the same cycle, and more importantly, how to finally break it. Chapter 1. The day the chain breaks. Imagine a simple chain. Every day you show up, a new link gets added. Workout, link. Reading, link. Focus, link. One action at a time, the chain grows. And after enough days, you stop seeing it as effort. You start seeing it as identity. I'm disciplined. I'm consistent. I'm someone who follows through. That's what habits actually do. They don't just change behavior, they change self-perception. And this is where most people unknowingly destroy themselves. Because eventually, the chain breaks. One bad day, one missed session, one moment of weakness. And instantly, your brain changes the meaning of everything. Not consciously, automatically. The mind starts whispering, see? You haven't changed. You're doing it again. And suddenly, one missed day feels bigger than the 14 successful ones before it. That's not laziness. That's psychology. Chapter 2. The what the hell effect. Psychologists discovered something fascinating decades ago. Researchers Janet Polivy and C. Peter Herman studied people trying to diet. And they noticed a strange pattern. When someone broke their diet slightly, they rarely stopped there. One cookie became 5. One mistake became a binge. And the reason wasn't hunger. It was identity collapse. The moment people felt they had failed, their brains switched modes. They thought, well, what the hell? I already messed up anyway. And that one thought destroyed everything. Now look carefully at your own life. You miss one workout, and suddenly the whole week disappears. You procrastinate one morning, and somehow the entire routine collapses. You break focus once and spend the rest of the day scrolling. It's never the first mistake that ruins you. It's the emotional reaction to the mistake. Because the brain doesn't just register the missed habit, it starts questioning the identity behind it. Maybe I'm not disciplined. Maybe this always happens. Maybe this is just who I am. And once the identity weakens, motivation disappears with it. Chapter 3. Why your brain turns against you. Here's something most people never realize. Your brain is constantly collecting evidence about who you are. Every action becomes proof. Every repeated behavior becomes identity reinforcement. If you write every day, your brain starts believing, I'm a writer. If you train consistently, your brain starts believing, I'm someone who takes care of myself. But this also works negatively. Every time you quit, your brain stores evidence for a different identity. I never finish things. I always fall off. I can't stay consistent. And eventually, those thoughts stop feeling like thoughts. They start feeling like facts. This is called learned helplessness. Researchers found that repeated failure changes the way people perceive future effort. After enough failed attempts, the brain stops expecting success entirely. Not because success is impossible, because identity became attached to failure. That's the terrifying part. Most people are not fighting habits, they're fighting accumulated evidence against themselves. And if you don't interrupt that cycle, your future starts looking exactly like your past. Chapter 4. The real problem isn't T failure. Here's the shift that changes everything. Consistency is not built by never failing. It's built by recovering faster than everyone else. That's it. The most disciplined people in the world are not perfect. They miss days too. They lose focus too. They procrastinate too. But there's one thing they do differently. They never let one mistake become identity. And psychologically, that changes everything. Because the moment you recover quickly, your brain interprets the miss differently, not as proof of failure, but as a temporary interruption. That distinction matters more than people realize, because your mind is always asking one hidden question: is this who we are now? And your response determines the future. Chapter 5. The Broken Bowl. In Japan, there's an ancient practice called kintsugi. When a ceramic bowl breaks, they repair it using gold. Not to hide the cracks, to highlight them. The damage becomes part of the beauty, part of the story. And honestly, that idea completely destroys the Western idea of self-improvement. Because most people treat broken streaks like proof they failed, something to restart, something to erase. But what if the break was part of the process? What if the missed day wasn't proof you're weak, but proof you're human? The people who actually transform their life are not the people who never crack. They're the people who learn how to repair themselves quickly. That's the difference. And once you understand that, self-improvement stops becoming perfection. It becomes recovery. Quick question. How many times have you completely abandoned a habit because of one bad day? Be honest. Comment once if it happened once. Or too many if you already know exactly what I'm talking about. Because most people silently struggle with this for years without realizing it has a name. Chapter 6. The 24-hour rule. Now let's talk about the solution. High performers across psychology, sports, business, and behavior science all tend to follow one invisible rule: not perfection, recovery speed. And one of the most powerful systems ever studied is simple: the 24-hour rule. If you break the habit, do something related to it within 24 hours, no matter how small. Missed the workout? Walk for 5 minutes. Skipped studying? Read 1 page. Didn't meditate? Take 1 deep breath consciously. Because the action itself is not the important part. The signal is. You are sending your brain one message: I still do this. That single message prevents identity collapse. And this is why tiny recovery actions matter so much psychologically. Because every fast recovery interrupts the what the hell effect before it spreads. There's a reason highly disciplined people live by this rule. Never miss twice. 1 missed day is life. 2 missed days begin a new identity. Chapter 7. The 1% rule. Now here's the part most people underestimate. The smallest actions matter the most during low motivation, not because they create massive results instantly, because they preserve identity. This is the 1% mind habit. When motivation disappears, don't aim for perfect, aim for 1%. Supposed to run 5 miles? Put your shoes on. Supposed to read for an hour? Read 1 paragraph. Supposed to journal? Write 1 sentence. The goal is not performance. The goal is keeping the identity alive. Because every tiny action tells the brain, we are still this person. And that's how real transformation actually happens, not through giant bursts of motivation, but through repeated identity reinforcement. Tiny vote after tiny vote, day after day, until eventually showing up becomes automatic. Most people wait to feel motivated before acting, but disciplined people understand something deeper. Action creates identity. Identity creates consistency. Consistency creates results, not the other way around. Chapter 8: Why You Keep Starting Over. Here's the painful truth. Most people spend years restarting. Monday, next month, new year, new routine, new version of themselves. But every restart secretly reinforces one belief: I'm someone who quits. And eventually, starting becomes emotionally safer than continuing. Because continuing risks disappointment. So the brain becomes addicted to fresh starts, excitement, motivation spikes, planning, imagining the future. But not the uncomfortable middle where identity is actually built. That's why most people stay trapped. They fall in love with beginning. But transformation belongs to the people who learn how to continue imperfectly. And honestly, that's rare. Very rare. Because continuing after failure requires emotional maturity. It requires separating mistakes from identity. It requires understanding that one bad day changes nothing unless you decide it means something. Chapter 9: The People Who Actually Change. The people who change their lives permanently are not superhuman. They don't wake up motivated every morning. They don't magically love discipline. They simply learn something most people never do. Missing once is normal. Quitting is a decision. And once you truly understand that, everything changes. Because now, the missed workout doesn't become the end. The bad day doesn't become the collapse. The lost week doesn't become the lost year. You stop treating mistakes like proof and start treating them like moments, temporary moments. That's how consistency is actually built, not through perfection, through recovery, through returning, through refusing to let one bad moment define who you are. So if you've been stuck in cycles, starting, stopping, restarting, this is your reminder: you are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not incapable of change. You just never learned how to recover correctly. And honestly, that changes everything. Now I want you to do something important. Comment the habit you're committed to rebuilding, starting today. Not perfectly, consistently, even if it's just 1%. Because the moment you say it publicly, your brain starts taking the identity more seriously. And chances are, someone reading your comment needs to see they're not alone too. And maybe that's the hardest truth to accept. Your life is not shaped by massive decisions. It's shaped by tiny behaviors, repeated so often they become your identity. The way you think, the way you react, the way you handle stress, the way you talk to yourself after failure. Every small habit is training your brain into becoming someone. The scary part? Most people don't even realize it's happening. They think habits only change behavior. But habits change the brain first. Repeated actions become neural patterns. Neural patterns become identity. And identity quietly becomes your future, which means right now, without noticing, your daily routines are either building a stronger mind or reinforcing the exact patterns keeping you stuck. That's why the next video matters. Because I'm going to show you the small everyday habits that are literally rewiring your brain in real time, for better or worse. And once you see them, you start understanding why some people evolve mentally every year, while others stay trapped in the same cycles for decades. Most people never notice these patterns until it's too late. You will. Watch the next video now, because your brain is already changing whether you realize it or not. I'll see you there.